Got the Trinity King here with another video. So we got a video by Taylor Taylor Zoom. Let me just call that Taylor Zoom. Alright. Our crows OP overpowered. Let's get into it.
Already lost. They just don't know it. Hit him from behind. Stop looking at me. Attack! Save it for the enemy. We've lost control of the command post.
Okay, now this is editing. Taylor Zoom.
Primates are notorious for their incredibly broken intelligence stat, which grants them access to incredible advanced techniques such as tool use, coordinating team strategies, and even bartering and trade. But primates are not the only faction in the game with a high intelligence stat. Cetacean, cephalopod, and bird mains also commonly opt not to spec into powerful damage-dealing abilities, and instead invest into leveling up their brain power skill tree. While this does seem like a risky choice, leaving the player more vulnerable in direct 1v1 combat, in actuality this often results in a much less risky playthrough, as the player's intelligence opens up more options for them to progress that don't require winning in combat. This is especially true of the bird faction, as their ability to fly already allows them to quickly escape most unfavorable combat.
Took a fish. Just took a fish.
Today, we're going to discuss one of the two main intelligence-centered bird builds, the faction that contains crows, ravens, and magpies, the Corvid. This video is going to focus mostly on crows as an example, but generally what I say in this video should apply to most Corvids.
Okay, that's what they're called? Our Corvids.
First, let's discuss their stats,
crows,
as well as the abilities and strategies that exemplify them.
Intelligence high, power low, defense low, mobility, I think it's mobility high, HP very low, exact same as defense, stealth average.
We'll begin with their stealth stat, which Corvids aren't particularly excellent in. The most popular Corvid skins are either Jet Black or Piebald, neither of which grant the user that strong of a stealth bonus. In fact, in snowy areas, Jet Black feathers are actually one of the least effective choices when trying to remain hidden. A dark appearance is most effective as camouflage at night, but crows and other Corvids are not nocturnal builds, so they aren't really gaining this benefit from it. Now, granted, stealth typically isn't all that important for birds, given how agile and vigilant they are.
Good jump.
Plenty of other high-tier avian builds, like for example parrots, are arguably some of the least stealthy birds in the game, and
they're very colorful. How can you be stealthy with this, bro?
Just fine. You could even argue that Corvids are even less stealthy than their black feathers initially appear, as their iridescence actually makes them even easier to see for certain other players, typically other birds. Ultimately, I think it's safe to say stealth is not an important part of their game plan. At least nowhere near as important as it is for ambush predator builds, like the owl. The main predators a crow needs to worry about are raptors, and because of the raptor's keen eyesight ability, it's unlikely having a higher stealth stat will make much of a difference anyway. The
Get off me, good.
crow's defense and constitution stats are fairly average for a bird, which is to say not great. Birds have hollow bones, and their feathers offer fairly little in terms of defense. Feathers do absorb some blunt force damage, but when it comes to slashing and piercing damage, it's nearly useless. And because of their hollow bones, which make them more vulnerable to blunt force damage, the benefit there kind of cancels out as well. Snakes, cats, raccoons, raptors, and dogs all have a high chance of taking a crow out in one hit, so they cannot let their guard down when interacting with any damage dealer builds. Given that their playstyle necessitates taking some risk, pro players definitely wish they had more room for error. Thankfully, their next stat makes it pretty
you didn't even have a chance. Why you cats? You didn't have
easy to avoid damage.
You lose.
The crow's mobility is a little above average for a mid-sized bird, which is to say, excellent. Birds in general are just extremely agile, both on the ground and
Weave Nation, bro, just got
in the air, making them extremely hard to land an attack on if they see you coming.
Was he about to take the baby, bro? Nah, you deserve it.
Some bird builds, like geese and junglefowl, require significant startup in order to get airborne, meaning that they can't rely on their flight to escape danger if the danger is already right in front of them. Crows are not one of these bird builds, and in contrast, the startup on their flight move has some shockingly broken frame data. and allows them to quickly and
Bro, you try jumping the rat tries to do it, bro. No.
easily reposition themselves
Crows can fly at a speed of 30 to 60 miles per hour. 60, dang, that's
in
fast.
basically any direction in 3D space almost instantly. This makes their ability to dodge attacks one of the best in the entire
I
game,
see.
and makes what would normally be fairly dangerous positions, such as right next to a powerful predator, quite safe as long as the Corvid doesn't use any laggy moves. This synergizes well with the Corvid's combat moveset, as we'll discuss in a moment.
They're just chasing, annoying them.
Corvids are blessed with many high stats, but power is
How do you get these 3D images of birds? How you make them?
not one of them. Their ability to deal damage is one of the weakest in their weight class, as their only attack option is
Just
a
fly up and drop it.
simple pecking strike.
Ah, RuneScape.
This move has quick startup and very little end lag, but its damage is egregiously low. Simply
annoying.
attacking with this move will deal minimal damage to anything larger than an insect. Most players will be able to ignore this attack's damage. However, this doesn't mean a crow's attacks are useless. It just means they've got to be clever about how they use them. A well-placed peck can provoke an attack, and if you're able to move out of the way quick enough, the enraged player will end up being forced to lash out at whoever just happens to be nearby, and create an opening for the Corvid player to capture an objective.
Okay, most birds have like a 360 vision or whatever. And it's vultures, they don't care, they're just hungry all the time, so.
Steal some loot, or escape trouble. It might seem like a jank strategy, but really this is the bread and butter of Corvid gameplay, and can lead to massive swings in advantage. The chance to afflict the enraged status effect scales with the user's intelligence stat, so the reason this strategy works so well is that the
Why are you jumping me, bro? It's the bird's fault. Like, even just holding him down, like, bro, why are you jumping me? It's the bird.
Corvid's intelligence stat is ridiculously high for a non-primate group.
He's still jumping.
Corvids are tied with parrots for the highest intelligence stat in the entire avian faction.
Yeah, intelligence,
And in
I
addition
see.
to enabling the
So I guess it's the cat's fault for being dumb.
goading strike moveset,
Oh, this is the-
having high intelligence grants Corvids access to a lot of other powerful techniques too, including the ability to
the
use
fishing
tools.
game.
Tool use is one of the most notoriously powerful abilities in the entire game, and in crows this is no less true. By using hook-shaped wooden sticks, crows can score kills on grubs that are normally safe from everything except for woodpecker attacks. And given how many expensive niche perks woodpeckers need to spec into, no
Okay, college so they need to have strong beaks, jack horn frequency, so they need to handle the vibrations. Sawdust protection islands, yeah, they they get all sawdust. Vertical bracing feet, okay, I don't know what that means. Shock absorbing muscles, yes, that too. The tail to support their body weight, the tongue, oh, I forgot about that. Oh man, the amount of sap they have to
order to perform these sorts of drilling attacks, the ability to bypass all of that investment while still gaining the same rewards is a huge boon to the crows. But high intelligence has far more benefits than just allowing
Crows have great long-term memory and can remember human faces for 5 years.
crows to copy the success of hyper-specialized builds. Arguably the most important benefit is team tactics. This is what
jumped.
allows baboons to fight off lions, what allows ants to bring down tarantulas, and what allows wolves to prey upon bison. When crows work together, they can capture
Damn,
territory
bro, you really just took down your man's. No, bro, that is not.
and control points of interest that they'd otherwise be helpless to defend.
Got your food cut.
They can even rescue each other from what would otherwise be guaranteed lethal attacks, using a tactic called mobbing. Mobbing is a strategy most commonly seen in birds, consisting of bombarding a single target with a barrage and more
You ain't getting out of. You getting jumped. You are getting jumped, my guy. Yo, snake 1, snake 0, crows number 1.
physical and sonic attacks. On their own, these would be easy to shrug off, but when you're getting pecked at and screeched
Okay.
at from all
Okay, now you're starting to piss me off.
directions at once, it inflicts heavy physical and psychic damage.
And you can't even fly away because they just chase you and start like hitting off the air.
This is what allows social corvids, like magpies and crows,
Okay. Magpie, crows, Okay, I see why Corvid
to
is a
successfully
group.
chase away predators several times their size. Ravens, on the other hand, tend not to really need the help, as they're large enough to handle most
Dang, okay. This is a cat. And that's a raven. Oh my. Now that's big. Now that's a problem.
opponents one-on-one.
Dang,
But
bro,
can
just-
still team up in order to lock down a good source of carry-on. Alternatively, they may even ally themselves with wolf players, leading them to a carcass and letting them do the work fighting off their competition before sharing in the rewards. Anyway, that's a basic overview of the Corvid build. Now let's talk about their matchups. The Corvid matchup chart is heavily dependent on how effective their goading strike and mobbing techniques are against a given target. Luckily, because of how high the Corvid's intelligence stat is, the list of targets goading strike works against is quite long. It is best against builds with lower intelligence stats. Things like vultures, things like reptiles, and things like rodents. What's more, this technique even works on one of the Corvid's two primary threats, feline builds. Deadly as cats are,
Some instigating stuff right there. And hey, bro, hey, that Calvin said something about hey, bro, he said something about that. Now that's some instigating.
they're often quite reactive and easily aggro, so Goading Strike is the perfect tool to redirect their ferocity. This move is admittedly less effective against the Corvid's other main concern, raptors. However, thankfully the mobbing technique is quite effective against raptors, so for both of their main threats, the Crow players have options. The only builds these techniques aren't that effective against are other high intelligence builds, such as monkeys and parrots.
Yeah, they are intelligent, but monkeys make sense. They're just great.
Because of their extremely strong social bonding and top-tier intelligence stat, parrots are highly resistant to psychic damage and do not turn on each other easily. In fact, when pestered by a Corvid, they are likely to defend each other fiercely using their own, more powerful beaks and louder shrieks. One-on-one, they're fairly evenly matched, so it tends to just come down to
Dang, bro, just took you out like that.
size. But in groups, Corvids tend to have difficulty forcing parrots away from an objective. As for monkeys, their higher HP allows them to more
They don't even acknowledge you.
easily ignore the pecking attacks of a crow. And they're used to getting their tails tugged all the time by their own party members, so a crow doing it is unlikely to provoke.
Hey, bro, do you feel that thing in your bed? Do you feel that in your back, bro? Your mom's just dragging you.
Punishable response. Crows and parrots have an interesting dynamic. I've said in previous videos that I believe parrots to be the more viable build. They have higher dexterity with their beaks, their sonic shriek attack is incredibly effective, they're more social, and arguably more intelligent even. And yet, of the two most intelligent bird builds, there's no denying that in the city biome, Corvids are much more successful. I think the reason for this is that even though parrots are indeed more powerful on their own, and are better at using most tools than crows are better at using the most important tools, other players. From provoking attacks and redirecting aggression, to using passing vehicles to deal damage for them and unlock high-value loot, Corvids are the best of the best when it comes to using other build strengths to cover for their own shortcomings.
Ah, bro, that's so cute.
And if the human build's dominance is any indication, co-opting the strengths of less intelligent builds is one of the strongest strategies you can possibly execute in the game. And it's for this reason that Corvids sit proudly in S tier.
S tier.
Speaking of builds with a high success rate within the city biome, another creature that thrives in cities is the centipede. With their quick, twitchy movement and flat shape, they have no trouble weaving through all of the nooks and crannies common in urban environments. This is the subject of my next video, which will be out on YouTube in a month or so. However, if you'd like to watch that video right now, you can access it a month in advance on Nebula, the sponsor of today's video. Now, many of you have heard me talk about Nebula before. It's the creator-owned platform with no ads, no algorithm, no clickbait, and phenomenal content. But this time is different. Nebula just underwent a massive overhaul to dramatically improve its UI, to make Nebula's premium content easier to find, and its creator list easier to sort. Let's Play Outside, an educational show spotlighting the individual lives of interesting animals, done in the style of a Let's Play livestream. One of the episodes I'm most proud of features the mantispid, a fascinating insect that has the characteristics of both a wasp and a mantis. How does it fare against other common garden insects? Well, you'll just have to check it out.
It's a good ad, but dang, bro, you're not gonna talk about this in your channel?
To see. I doubt many of you know this exists. It has been sort of hard to find on Nebula before, despite being exclusive to the platform. But now I really hope you give it a watch.
Oh my goodness, this thing is actually a flying mantis wasp. 3 worst things to combine. What? Okay.
One of the other new categories on Nebula is news, which I find really helpful given how complicated geopolitics tends to be.
No, that's where you lost me. Sorry. When it came to talking about animals, yes, I'm gonna maybe I'll subscribe or whatever, pay. Now you talk about news, but okay.
lately. Specifically, they have this new current events show called The War Room, which is made by the same talented people behind real-life lore and modern conflicts.
I really
Much
wanna
like
see
how
that.
the monkey's intelligence helps it avoid being used as a pawn in the crow's plan, knowledge about the defining geopolitics of our time is important to know about so that you are not provoked into a battle that you don't understand. But on a more fun note, one show I've been really enjoying is Archaeology Quest, a show where scientists compete to see who can master the art of Paleolithic survival first. If this all sounds good to you, you can sign up to Nebula using my link at nebula.tv/Tirzu, or use the link below, which supports
Wait, this is done? Wait,
me
the
directly
video's
and
done.
gets you all this amazing content for 40% off if you choose the annual plan, which adds up to as little as $2.50 a month. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks.
Hell no, $2 in my country. That's like yo, dude. I like your content, but no, no, no. You lost me when you brought up the news and politics. When it came up to your content, I was like, I'll consider it. Consider it. And you said a month. I can't wait a month, bro. And it's my first time watching you in the channel. Okay, so I can't wait a month. Y'all can wait a month. So nah, no thanks. I'm good. That's been Tirzu. Link in description for their channel in the video in description. Like and subscribe on their video if you want to watch more of it or watch more of his stuff. Because I'm not gonna react to all of it, or I'm not gonna react to most of it unless you want to. Okay, so it's been Tirzu. Jubilant to King on the other video. Like and subscribe for more. Peace.